Hi everyone, this is Venus Brown. Today we'll be doing a reaction for Season 1, Episode 8 of House of the Dragon.
If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.
Near 6 years since I last saw my lord husband, Maester. I must know. Will he live?
He led his sailors into an ambush, the ship made to look as if it were abandoned. Ship's maester said, he burns from within.
Is it 6 years?
The sea snake is strong.
No doubt. And yet I have seen blood fever overcome men half his age.
I will not suffer the talk of crows in my house, Vaemond.
I love my brother. But we must be honest with ourselves. We may greet his ship to find him gone. And who will take the driftwood throne?
Like her
My
dress.
grandmother seems quite comfortable here.
She presides only in the absence of her husband. My brother cares only for the history books. But what of the Velaryon line? Is it to be snuffed out? Supplanted by the pups of House Strong? Driftmark is mine by all rights. And while I should like your support, I do not need it. The winds have shifted. The crown has good reason to take my side.
My cousin the king would have your tongue for this.
But it's not a king who sits the Iron Throne these days, good sister. It's a queen.
Interesting.
Ordered that the tree should be killed.
Felled. It is a related word. I don't expect you to learn High Valyrian in a day, Jace.
A king should honor the traditions of his forebears.
Well, unless you're planning to depose your own mother, you have plenty of time to study.
He means to call into question Luke's legitimacy. And by extension, Jace, and by extension, my own claim to the throne.
Vaemond cares only about Driftmark and the Velaryon line, not about our politics. Has he made common cause with Otto Hightower yet?
This is what I fear. Rhaenys has flamed a chord. Surely she cannot be planning to back him.
No. Whatever disagreements we may have had, she's not cruel. Stupid enough to do that.
Disagreement. She believes we had her son killed so that we might marry.
Yes.
It looks different. I think because there's black banners. But... Look at the previous episode.
Welcome back, princess.
Good lord. Lord, it's bad.
The sea snake has taken a grave wound in battle in the Stepstones.
When? You won that 4 years ago.
No. The trachea is resurgent. The fighting is new. There is a petition to decide upon the succession of Driftmark and the heir to the Driftwood throne.
Petition. Listen to Lotto. See to all that business now.
No, brother, listen to me. You are to affirm your position for Lucerys, to be Corlys Velaryon's successor.
There's someone we wish to introduce you to.
This is Aegon.
Aegon.
I was gonna say, I
And this
sure should have had
is
kids
Viserys.
already.
That is a name fit for a king. My tea.
This?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Diana. What a pretty name. I understand you found yourself in some trouble.
Another generation.
When I turned, I didn't see him. I asked him to stop. Your Grace, he did. Truly. You must believe me.
Has your son become a rapist?
Thank you for telling me, Diana. I know it wasn't your fault. I believe you.
You do?
I do. But what I worry about is what others might believe.
The tea. Rose.
I think they call it.
It's best to be certain. You are no son of mine.
What'd she say?
I did not ask for this. I've done everything you've asked me to, and I try so hard, but it will never be enough for you or Father.
Have you seen Diana? She's supposed to dress the children.
Ah, the Maesters, of course. It is they who keep him addled on milk of the poppy while the High Towers warm his throne.
Rhaenyra, if you would see him without it, almost blind with suffering.
No. Listen, I have no doubt it was an act of the purest mercy, but tell me, for the king's suffering, did the Maesters also prescribe the removal of Targaryen heraldry and the installation in its stead of various statues and stars?
The emblems of the Seven serve only to guide us on an uncertain path, to remind us of a higher authority.
And on the morrow, which authority will sit in judgment of my son's claim on his own inheritance?
That would be mine.
Well done, my prince. You're winning tourneys in no time.
I don't give a shit about tourneys. Nephews? Have you come to train?
Wasn't really expecting the Valerian family to fight the. He was spitting a lot of shade at them at the funeral, though.
The realm has enjoyed a long peace. A credit to the work of both Jaehaerys and Viserys, but the threat of war looms and may arrive on our shores. When it does, will you want a child at the command of the greatest fleet in Westeros?
We must, of course, act in the interest of our subjects.
The next Lord of the Tides will be deeply in your debt, Your Grace. As will Driftmark, in all its strength.
Have two families fighting each other. Better.
I loved your son. You may not believe it to be true, but I did. I did not order his death. Nor was I complicit in it, I swear this to you. I'll make you an offer. Back Luke's claim, and let us betroth Laena's children to mine. Baela will be queen of the Seven Kingdoms, and her sons will be heirs to the throne. Rhaena will rule in Driftmark, and the seat will pass to her and Lucerys' children in time.
A generous offer. You're right in this, at least. It does not matter. You can bargain with me all you like. Bring my granddaughter with you to soften my resolve. But tomorrow the Hightowers land their first blow. They force you to your knees, and I must stand alone.
The Song of Ice and Fire, do you believe it to be true?
Eggol's dream.
You told me it was our duty to hold the realm united against a common foe. But in naming me heir, you divided the realm. If you wish me to bear it, then defend me. And my children.
Sounds like me after the gym.
Bring milk of the poppy.
The true, unimpeachable blood of House Velaryon runs through my veins.
As it does in my sons, the offspring of Laenor Velaryon. If you cared so much about your house's blood, Sir Vaymond, you would not be so bold as to supplant its rightful heir. No, you only speak for yourself and for your own ambition.
You'd have chance to make your own petition, Princess Rhaenyra. Do Sir Vaymond the courtesy of allowing his to be heard.
What do you know of Velaryon blood, Princess? I could cut my veins and show it to you, and you still wouldn't recognize it. This is about the future and survival of my house, not yours.
To grace this fast with some answer, I will start by reminding the court that nearly 20 years ago in this very...
King Viserys of House Targaryen, the first of his name, King of the Andals, and the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and Protector of the Realm.
Wow. Very interesting.
I will sit the throne today.
Your Grace.
I will be fine. I will be fine. I said I'm fine. Come on.
I think of him as like Loki, misunderstood and mischievous. Attitude.
I do not understand why petitions are being heard over a settled succession. The only one present who might offer keener insight into Lord Corlys's wishes is the Princess Rhaenys.
It was ever my husband's will that Driftmark pass through Sir Laenor to his true-born son, Lucerys Velaryon.
Yep.
His mind never changed, nor did my support of him. As a matter of fact, the Princess Rhaenyra has just informed me of her desire to marry her sons Jace and Luke to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena. A proposal to which I heartily agree.
Well, the matter settled. Again,
God's like, yeah.
I hereby reaffirm Princess Aerys of House Velaryon is heir to Driftmark the Driftwood throne, and the next Lord of the Tides.
My house survived the doom, and 1,000 tribulations besides. And gods be damned. I will not see it ended on the account of this. Say it. Her children are bastards! And she is a whore.
Will have your tongue for that.
There it is.
That's
Take
pretty
it out.
her.
He can keep his tongue.
Disarm him!
Minnie.
Arm him. And Eamon just like eating all of this up.
It is ill luck to look upon the face of death.
I think a lot of them look on the face of death a lot.
Grandmaster. I assure you, he cares little whether my eyes are open or closed.
That was one heck of a clean cut.
Why didn't they do that earlier?
Four-man carry chair.
You do know how the act is done, I assume. At least in principle. I had to put your cork and all that.
And did he, cousin?
You can play the gesture if you wish, but hold your tongue before I betray it.
His face. Thanks to say not to.
What's in your head?
My own face is no longer a handsome one. If indeed it ever was. But tonight, I wish you to see me as I am. Not just a king, but your father, your brother, your husband, and your grandsire, who may not, it seems, walk for much longer among you. Let us no longer hold ill feelings in our hearts.
It's been nice. We didn't have a show. Yeah, I would too.
I regret the disappointment you're soon to suffer. But if you ever wish to know what it is to be well satisfied, all you have to do is ask.
God.
Like to toast Vela and Raina. They'll be married soon. It isn't so bad, mostly he just ignores you. Except sometimes when he's drunk.
Best family reunion ever. One day of peace and harmony.
Wise.
Strong.
Amen.
Come. Let us drain our cups to these three strong boys.
I dare you to say that again.
Why? It was only a compliment. Do you not think yourself strong?
Aye.
The song of ice and fire. It is true. What he saw in the north. The prince that was promised. Prince.
Prince Edmund.
To unite the realm against the cold and the dark.
I understand, my king.
That was episode 8 of House of the Dragon. What an episode. We finally get to a point where the legitimacy of Rhaenyra's children is actually brought to a head, and they bring this to the royal court to be decided legally and officially. At that point, they believe that King Viserys is in too bad of shape and he's not going to be able to show up. So it's primarily going to be decided by the Queen and the Hand. And we know that the Queen and the Hand are primarily on the Hightower side and don't really give too much of two shits about the Targaryen side. Or at least they don't seem to give too much of two shits about Rhaenyra's side. I think, though, we see a lot of cracking under the pressure of the weight of everything that has happened with all of the division and dissent that is going on between the House Targaryen on the Hightower side and the Targaryen side. But either way, King Viserys does show up at the end. He comes in to kind of save the day for the Rhaenyra side. And basically, so the only person that really should have anything to say about any of this in this building right now is Rhaenys. She's the only one that might have anything more to say because she's married to Corlys. She would know what Corlys wants. He brings Rhaenys up. And Rhaenys tells him honestly, it has always been and always remained Corlys' wishes that his line of succession proceed on with Lucerys and Jacaerys, not his brother. And typically it wouldn't be a brother anyway. Yes, there's this idea that these kids are bastards, but legally, by the eyes of the royal court, these kids are supposed to be Targaryen, Valyrian, sons of Rhaenyra and Laenor. So, even though pretty much everybody knows they're probably bastards, legally they're not. Legally, and according to the throne, they're not. After Rhaenys comes up and says, yeah, this is the way that Corlys wanted it, even though she had expressed misgivings, I don't think Rhaenys ever really wanted this big amount of dissension. She just knew that it would be questioned. She knew that it would be a big problem. I don't think she wanted it to be. I don't think she wanted it to be a big problem. I don't think she wants the problems that exist with a female being made heir to the throne when a lot of Westeros thinks that a male should be. I don't think she wants that. I think she is kind of has come to the realization that this is how this kingdom is, and I don't want to fight them anymore. We get this last dinner. I think it's going to be a last dinner with Viserys. I don't think Viserys. I think Viserys isn't living through the night, but can't say that for sure. This guy is like the longest living old bag of bones that has managed to just keep on going when he's not actually a zombie. Longer than any other character I think I've seen. Just like keeps going and going and going. Totally falling apart. This guy looks so horrible. Like every episode we think that he can't like look much worse. And every episode he just looks, it's like just slowly falling apart more and more. And yeah. So we get to see this lovely dinner. Like they seem to have this, nice little moment of peace and tranquility for just a little while, maybe an hour. But we know that it's mostly just to appease the king. But honestly, I think we got to see like some genuine smiles from almost everybody in the room. There might have even been a couple of those smiles from Otto Hightower that might have actually been genuine. I think most of them were fake smiles, but maybe one or two of them might actually have been genuine smiles coming from Otto Hightower. And I think the majority of the rest of them actually had some legitimate smiles on their face for a little while. But as soon as Viserys went out of the room, I think we all knew that the shoe was going to drop and things were going to get bad, and they did. It would have been nice if, like, in the last 10 years, the two families could have been proceeding the way that that was going during this dinner. But that wasn't the reality. The end of the dinner turns out to be just a big mess, like a lot of the whole frickin' family dissension and division. Get to that last scene with Viserys and Alicent. And I think with some of the strain and everything that has been going on between the two houses, and especially between these two head characters, Rhaenyra and Alicent, I think that Alicent and Rhaenyra were both growing weary of it, and I think maybe at least for a time, maybe they would have laid off of each other. But unfortunately, we get that last scene where the Song of Ice and Fire is partially explained to Alicent, and she doesn't know what she's hearing. She doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. I recall him telling her a little bit about one of his dreams early on, but I don't think he ever told her anything about the whole Song of Ice and Fire dream. So she's getting part of the information, and part of this information that she heard from him way, way, way back several years ago, and putting these two together and putting the word Aegon together, not understanding that this was Aegon's vision from multiple generations ago, not a vision of her son Aegon. So she's got that misconstrued idea that this is what Viserys actually is asking for, that he wishes for according to this dream, but she doesn't have all the information. So, and my oldest kid said, that makes a lot more sense that she would go into this pushing Aegon to be king like she was because she thinks it's Viserys' wish, rather than my daddy kept telling me that this is what needs to be done, and everybody in Westeros seems to think that it's what needs to be done. No, it's not just daddy saying it and a lot of people that are on my side are saying it. It's now Viserys is saying it too. And so this is my husband. I'm sworn to my husband. I have to do my duty as his wife, and my duty as his wife is to obey his wishes, and these are his last wishes, which unfortunately aren't really, but she doesn't know that. So yeah, I guess it does make a little more sense, but I still think even if she had never heard that, I think she still would have eventually gone to the side of Aegon's supposed to be king. I don't think he should be. I think he's a terrible person to be king, but a lot of these people think that in order to keep the kingdom of Westeros together, they have to do that. I don't understand how any of them think that this division isn't going to completely split Westeros and possibly destroy it. I don't understand how they get that, but I understand how they think that, oh, Westeros isn't going to be very accepting of a female queen. But I think the whole idea that this is a set precedent that they don't have female rulers, I think is a bit of hogwash. Yeah, most of Westeros is very pro paternal line of succession, but there are areas in Westeros where they do have female leaders, where they did have females ruling over them. So the idea that all of Westeros is this way, I think, is not true. But anyway, we'll see you next week for episode 9 of House of the Dragon.
Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.